Monday with Martha on the Ron G Morning Show. Her guest this morning is Crystal Jordan. It is now straight up 10 o'clock. It is 70 degrees outside. And we have Monday with Martha on. Good morning, young lady.
Good morning. I don't see you guys for some odd reason.
Well, you don't see me because there we go.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. And
we are waiting on
Miss Crystal.
Miss Crystal.
Yeah. So while we're waiting on her, your business, Completing Him, is the business highlight this week.
Really?
You see, I said I'm not gonna let her know till she gets on here. So
that's pretty good.
So I've been highlighting the business starting 2 weeks ago every day. You know, every week there's a new business, and yours is this week. So,
well, thank you.
So tell us something about your business.
Well,
not your business, but about your, not my
business, not my personal business, but my business.
There you go. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Actually, my business is changing. I'm actually getting ready to go 100% virtual because I am getting ready to take my business to another level, and I will be actually relocating to Illinois, back to Chicago, the first week of May.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. You be in good business up there in Chicago. We got some strange people up there.
Well, welcome, Crystal.
Hi. I'm so happy to be here.
So happy to see you. So let me just start off by saying, thank you guys for joining us, and we're going to get started. I want to first of all honor the host of the show, WSAN owner, which is Ron Gordon, and Crystal Jordan. I want you to meet Ron Gordon. It's funny, Jordan and Gordon, but
I know, that's hilarious.
We're gonna rule
I want
the world.
You to meet him. I want to introduce you guys to each other before we get started, because Ron is the voice of the voiceless. He is the radio station located in San Antonio, Texas, that actually highlight small businesses, help entrepreneurs get, to get their name out there. And that's what he does. He's very good at it. He loves it. He has the passion for it. He's motivated to do it, show up on time, and show up all the time.
I love it.
And so, Ron, I want you to meet Crystal Jordan. She is an autism advocate, but I wanted you guys to meet each other before we get started.
Hi. Where's my mic? Hi.
Hello there.
It's so nice to meet you. I'm based in Atlanta.
ATL.
Yes. So just to tell the audience a little bit about Crystal before we get started and before the questions start. Crystal Jordan, she is an autism advocate. She's an author, a philanthropist, publisher, and the founder and editor-in-chief of Auesomely, I hope I'm saying Auesomely You Magazine. She is she has a son who she really advocates for, and she'll tell you more about it when we get started. But she already told us she was in Atlanta. So tell us, Crystal, tell the audience, how did you get started being an autism advocate?
So first, let me say thank you for having me on your radio show. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you creating this platform. And I'm going to answer your question. So what made me start being an advocate? My answer is a little bit different, because I didn't call myself an advocate in the beginning. In the beginning, what happened was my son was diagnosed at 2 years old. I decided at 2, I think I used to buy my son like 5 books a week. So I was looking for a book that was dealing with autism with a Black character. And unfortunately, at that time, I didn't see a lot of books that represented my son. So I wrote it and I said, let me solve the problem. I did it for fun, did it as a hobby, but then people started calling me an advocate. I started doing interviews. I started getting press about me. So then I said, well, I guess God, I'm an advocate. That's how it happened. It was so organic because I guess the book it has a quote in the book talking about I create this book for Black boys and Black girls can be represented and see themselves in my work. Yes, that is very true. But at that point, I didn't call myself an advocate. I was just a mom on a mission in the beginning. Now I am an advocate. Now I go to my local state capital. I'm advocating for bills. I'm advocating for funding to go towards families like me and my son. And I'm also a late diagnosed autistic Black woman who was diagnosed in my late 30s. So I look at autism in a different way. And the reason why I created all my platforms is to give the voice to the people who do not have a voice, like my son, to get him a voice.
That's awesome. Like,
Thank you.
because you know what? Thank you so much for sharing and being, opening up that for yourself, like you being on the spectrum, right? And
Mhm.
so a lot of people, and a lot of people have shame around talking about autism or any type of anything that we may have a deficit in our life, we don't want to talk about. I call them deficits because they are like maybe an area where we may be a little weak in, but we're strong in so many others, right?
Right.
And so let me ask you a question. Like, I'm being a parent, uh, I, being a parent and dealing with the symptoms of that autism bring to your child. What advice would you give parents who are dealing with the same thing?
Well, my advice is number one, breathe. You have to just breathe and take that first step. So if your child diagnosed with autism or ADHD or any of the things, because my son also have ADHD, he was diagnosed with that at 6. So he has a dual diagnosis. Breathe. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of research. It's depending on your area, it may be lack of resources, but that's okay. Just start going to events, look in your local area for events dealing with autism. And when I say when you go to those events, you're gonna find so much knowledge than what you're gonna find on Google. And build your village. Your village can consist of some of your family, but I have met so many people who family is not their village. I'm just so lucky and fortunate that my village is my family. And then if my family can't do it, I have a best friend that would do it. So build your village and don't be upset if your village is not the people you think is going to be, because that's okay. So then I also say, if you believe in God, pray. And as you have people come into your life, ask God, is this person meant for me in this season? Because don't forget, some people are not here forever. So some people are just seasonal. And I have learned that in this journey. And I've been very obedient, I may say, when it comes to that. So first is breathe, get your village. Also educate your village. Because if they don't know what autism is, the first thing you'll hear is you need to whoop him or you need to whoop her or you need to discipline her. Those are the common things I hear. My family don't do it no more. My son's father family don't do it either because I made it clear. Maybe he doesn't understand. Maybe he's not processing, and that's not the way we should parent our child. That's not the way you should parent your grandchild. This is what we should do. I'm all about strategy, but that comes with time. So I can't expect a new parent to think strategy because right now you're going through the emotions, you're going through the grieving, you're going through the grieving who your child is, you're trying to process it, and you're probably upset, like, what did I do wrong? You're going to go through so many emotions when you get that diagnosis. But I say breathe and talk to God and build your village.
Also, I love how you say, the village, your village, who are your village, and don't be upset if it's not the people who you thought was. Because sometimes we get stuck in like they should be doing this, they should be doing that, instead of moving forward and holding on to the village that we actually have in front of us, actually. And so that can get that can keep you stuck as well. So when some parents don't quite know if they're dealing with behavioral issues or autism. How did you know the difference?
So I want to touch back on the village thing. It took me a minute to get here because I'm not going to pinpoint, but I was very shocked to see that certain family members of my son are not involved. They don't help. And I really tried. And within the last year, I stepped back and I no longer care for that relationship because my son is going to be amazing with or without you, and he don't need you. So it took me a minute to get to there, to be honest. In the behavior question. Some of the things my son do, I know it's him being 8, and I know it's his autism. But lately, I think it's just him being 8. When you tell him no, he will throw his tablet down. He will have these outbursts. I call them outbursts. I'm pro ABA, so he had these big outbursts, and I ignore him when he does it. Because what I learned through ABA, which is ABA is applied behavior analysis, therapy. What I learned is when you ignore him, he won't do it. But if you start to cater to that behavior, he's going to get worse. And when I tell you, he did it last night. He ran, hit the floor, jumped, got up, ran to the kitchen, ran to his granddaddy, and we just looked at him. And then he eventually said to himself, I guess I'm not going to get what I want. Let me go over here and sit down. That was last night. And I was just like, this child, you're a character. So some things are behavior, some things are their autism. I don't say tantrums, because sometimes they're having a meltdown that sometimes we don't understand. And it's also them communicating, because think about it, all behavior is a form of communication. It is up to you as an adult to figure out what are they trying to communicate, what is going on, why are they acting out in this moment, in this setting, what triggered this behavior, or my other question is, if it's something you notice, what is a strategy you putting in place to work on that? Or what are you working towards correcting that behavior?
And you know what? That's a good point that you mentioned, because when we are dealing with, people in general, whether it's children or adults, and I think we forget about not meeting the temperature that's in front of you. Not, because if your anxiety go up and you irate like they are, it's not going to help the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But if we just calm, you meeting calm in love with that, you can't help but the person you're dealing with can't help but to calm down, because
that part.
But when we get to the point where we want to meet the temperature to prove whether we right or wrong or whatever, is not helpful in that situation. So it's, when you say breathe, and when you say, don't step up to the behavior where you like, okay, every time he does this, I do this, or instead of just ignoring the behavior, the unwanted behavior. And I'm sure when he's doing good, you reward the good behavior, so he can know the difference between the two.
I try to talk to him about when he have all his behaviors, but do he listen to me? No. The moment my son know he did something wrong, he would get up and run, and then sometimes he'd turn around and smile. That's how we know that's how I know he understands. And then he actually ignores me more. He actually listens to my mom and dad more than me. He don't. My son honestly listens to his grandparents over his mom. If I say no, if he could talk, I swear he'll go to my mom and snitch on me all the time. But every time I tell him no, he go to my mom, and my mom give him whatever he just try to get from me. And I told her she had to stop, because she's creating and enabling his behavior. Because when he get older, when he get in the real world, he's gonna be hit with a culture shock. I said that culture shock gonna be like, oh, I can't get what I want. And I said, are you gonna be here to help him through those changes? Because I'm gonna be like, I told you so. Now that's the mom in me. That's not the advocate in me.
Right.
That's the mom
Right.
in me.
So it sounds
I
like
turn
you
them off
switch hats.
all the time. Even at my son's school, they know me as the advocate, because I'm so good at cutting off the mom. I'm very good at when I go into the school. Like we just had a bullying incident, and I went to the school. Now my boyfriend thought I was gonna go in there being mad. I, I said no. I literally act like this is my professional career, so I don't. I would never. I would never miss my reputation. That's number
Mhm.
one. So I went into the school days later because I had to like process it, and then I came with a whole strategy for the school, and they was like, "Oh." I said my exact words. I only do a background check because I'm here all the time. I know I'm good. They said, "Yeah, we know," and I turn off the advocate and mom all the time. I'm a mom when I have to be a mom, but I'm mainly more of an advocate when I go into the school because there's certain things I need. I need laws to be followed. It's certain behaviors that I do not expect from neurotypical kids. Neurotypical is society standard or normal. I don't use the word normal. So I think it's certain things that neurotypical kids should learn about kids who are on a spectrum or are different. I don't believe in
Mhm.
bullying. I don't believe in name calling. I went through that as a kid. I was in special education. I remember how that feel. I also was nonverbal until 5, a little bit after 5. So I understand how my son feels. He just don't know. I understand how he feels. So
Right.
to hear certain things come back to me, and my son's school is amazing. But like I told the principal, we can't control the kids. All we can
Right.
do is influence them and talk to them.
Mhm.
And that's where I come in, and I'm going to set up this whole course for soon within like before the school year's out. Because when they come back next school year, I want to see, do they listen? Yeah, I'm very involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. I
Thank
love it.
you.
And I know I see you mentioned nonverbal for your son. And so as a mom, because I'm sure other mothers out there have the same dealing with the same thing, what advice would you give them? Because maybe there's something that they need help in when it comes to your nonverbal child that
I'm not gonna
that
lie.
when it comes to communication.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie, it is a struggle having a nonverbal child, but I understand him more because I was nonverbal. So I have a different connection with being nonverbal. So when it comes to my son, right now I'm working on getting my AAC device. If there's somebody listening, you don't know what that is. An AAC device is, think of it a tablet. It's an assistant communication device. And it's like it has an app on there. Now, depending on your insurance will cover it. So you have that. And if you don't want insurance to cover it, then you can buy it yourself. And they're very expensive, I'm not gonna lie, but it's a device that will assist him with his communication when the process of getting him one. And let's say you don't have the funds or the insurance want to prove that you have PETS. PETS is a picture exchange communication device. What is PETS? PETS is, think of flashcards, think of a folder, and think of your son or daughter as one in candy. They pick the candy card, they put it down, they pick up I want, and then they say I want candy. They're communicating. They're not using their vocal cords such as you and I. You also have the, what is it called? The letterboard. The letterboard is something that is controversial. I have not used it, but I have met other parents who have used the letterboard, and they have had success. So I recommend doing research on the letterboard. Those are the 3 things. You also have ASL. So for my son, we do ASL. We do more. This means more. We also sign please. Right now, my son is being defiant because he would not go past those 2 sign words. So every time I tell him a new word, he just do please. And I'm like, say drink. This is drink. So I recommend looking up going on Groupon and find an ASL. I found the ASL course. My son was first diagnosed for $9. And I sent it to everybody in my son's original village, which is his family. And let's just say nobody did it. Only me. Um, and I just recommend that. And that's pretty much it. But I say give your kids grace. And one thing about my son's school that I love is that my son teacher, they wear it's like a communication device. They wear it around their neck, but it's like a name card, and it has my son words like water, bathroom around her neck, and he can touch what he needs on his desk. He also have words like for me, he's doing a lot of spit play, which is he's a century seeker. On his desk, they have a picture with say no spit play. So yes, and I also create his pets because I want everything to be consistent from home to school. So I always email them pets for they can use, and that's how we work on his communication. And I used to be I'm gonna be very honest in this interview. I used to be very good with his pets. Then my cousin died during COVID in 2021, and when she died, I went through a depression and a grief. And I was not at that point, I was not a good advocate because I wasn't continuing to work on his pets. So he has regrets in that because I I couldn't do it. My cousin death was unexpected. But in the last year, I want to say we've been back on track. I put him back in feeding. He's thriving with eating everything. He really loved to eat. Now before my son was really the typical autistic child that only ate two things. Now I can't say that. But yeah, that's how we work on communication, and that's the advice I would give them. And look up a speech therapist that know how to work with an autistic child. In Georgia, I have had a terrible experience finding a speech therapist. To this day, I still have not found a good one that is qualified or wants to work with my child. I just met with one a week ago. She told me, I know he needs a service, but I can't provide it because he's too busy. You heard me
Oh
right.
man,
And I looked
that's
at her.
sad.
It's very sad. And I get that a lot. I'm like, so you want your autistic kids to just sit there and take speech? That's not, that's
It's not
not,
realistic,
that's not reality. Like, so
right?
you telling me all your kids that you service just sits there.
Yeah.
That's
You know
what I
what?
keep
I,
running
I
into.
must say you have done your homework, and you,
Mhm.
the advocate, you don't carry the name, you carry the whole position, you carry the heart, the attitude, and everything about it. So, you know, that's amazing. What you're
Thank
doing is
you.
amazing. I just
Don't
want
make
to
me
say that.
cry.
I'm
Thank
good for
you.
look, I'm good for doing that. No, I'm just kidding. But no, but really I have to say that because I'm telling you, your journey and how your heart is in it is so powerful. And I'm just so I'm I'm wondering and do you coach?
You know what? I knew you was gonna ask that. I just had a feeling. So I'm gonna be honest. Okay. So I have a lot of advocate friends who are like known in the industry. A lot of people get on me because I don't do coaching. I actually go into the school system for free. I advocate for free in the school system. And I got this year, I have been getting a lot of like, no, you can't keep doing this, Crystal. So because of everybody keep pushing me, I'm not gonna lie, I have imposter syndrome. I'd be like, am I good enough? So I just have to be transparent. But I know I'm good enough. It's just I I'm scared, but I keep telling me to scared. I am
Girl,
launching.
that's normal, just
It's
so you know.
normal. Okay,
Yes.
so I'm launching my coaching system. It's called Auesomely You. So Auesomely You is more than a magazine. It's a podcast. It's a magazine. It's so much more. But I'm also going to become a parent coach because I realize there's so many parents that don't realize the power within themselves. I meet parents every day. I have about 5 to 6 clients today that is pro bono. And I just, they are all so similar. They just need that push in so many different ways. Yes, the school system legally is wrong in most of it. most of the cases, especially the one this week. But I can't be there because I have a hair appointment. And I said, I can't believe you scheduled your meeting. And I'm telling you in the email they're legally wrong. And I'm not going to be there. I said, I'm praying for you because I'm not going to be there. And so because of that, I am launching my system. It took me a minute to get here,
Do it. And also, as you know, I'm a mentor. I mentor like new coaches that's coming up and coming. So since you give so much to what you're doing and your heart is so geared toward that, I want to mentor you on the house. Okay? Because I want you out there. I want you to be an advocate and a coach. And I know you have it in you because you have the heart. So we'll talk up that sideline later, but that's what I want to do for you.
I'm speechless. Yeah, my mouth dropped. Like, and you just gave me confirmation. Like, so I'm so big in walking my purpose this year, and God is telling me that I'm gonna meet my tribe along this journey because I am so scared.
You are going to meet your tribe, and I'm going to help you do that.
Thank you. I
I
told
want to
you
walk
you're gonna make me cry.
alongside of you. I'm going to walk alongside of you. So, Brian, you have any questions before we finish, before we get going again? Because I know I have to. He may have some people calling in or something. I don't know. I got to check in.
Let me go cut on my mic. First of all, I applaud you, Krista, for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Some parents don't have that ability to do things, or they go a different direction and almost like pass their kid on to somebody else to take care of when it's your job, it's your kid. I could deal with you on this because my youngest son had asthma real bad, and we didn't know what was triggering it off. I'm saying we, me and the doctor, because I was a single parent. So I started writing a journal and on everything and he was eating, what triggered it. And after 3 weeks of doing it, I found out it was chocolate. And then I got into a support group and I showed him my book, had everything highlighted. So we had a support group like 5 years. We did that, trying to figure out what triggers it off and all. Because, you know, I just say for you doing that, I applaud you. And there's one question that came in. It is, what is something you wish more people understood about autism?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. I wish more people will understand we were just like everybody else. You just have to give us grace. Just like, and I break it down like this for a certain reason. So you may cook chicken this way, I cook it this way, but we still get the same results. Sometimes you have to get people with autism or different disabilities. You just have to get them grace and try to understand them. And or if you see somebody overwhelmed, you don't know they're overwhelmed. You can just ask, how are you today? Today you don't seem like Crystal. And then that can subway into the, are you overwhelmed today? Like what's going on? Because like yesterday I was overwhelmed at work, but one person who knew was my other coworker who was actually autistic as well. So you see the difference. Only the two autistic people knew when both was overwhelmed versus somebody who's neurotypical.
Mm-hmm. That was a good question.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
I'm
powerful.
I'm just at all that autism been around a long time, and actually this is Autism Month right here. So
Yes, it is.
yeah, I'm glad you on. It's been around for a while, and like you said, back in the days, they want to whoop it out of you without understanding what they're doing. They were to get a belt instead of sit down understanding. And I'm gonna preach this right now. And parents, if you're upset with me, too bad. I'm just gonna say is our kids, whether artistic, normal, or whatever, listen to what they're saying. We got a bad tendency being parents. We don't listen to our kids. That you don't know anything yet. Yes, they do. They know a lot more than what you think. They can break down things to you. And for you to find out that your son had autism, that means you were listening, you was paying attention, you knew what was going on. Instead of you sitting back saying, "Woe is me," you jumped right into there. And I'm gonna agree with Martha. You are an advocate, and you should be a life coach. I'm gonna agree with
Absolutely.
Martha on that one.
Absolutely.
You should be doing something right now to help others, because you never know your neighbor, somebody across the street, or somebody you meet at school, and you could tell them your story, and you'd be surprised how much that story will relate to a lot of people out there listening. So tell your story, reach other people out
I
there.
do tell people all the story all the time,
Okay.
and they be looking at me, and that's how I after this last week, if it was a parent, I went into my son's school to get him because the bus has been double, and the parent was like, "Oh, you're an advocate," and we were just talking. He said, "I need more," and I said, "Oh, I need a coaching system." In my head, I was thinking this, but I was like, "I'm just up here to get my child." And we were just having, I just talk to people. I'm really a people person to a certain extent, because once I'm done talking to you and I feel like the conversation is done, I'll walk away. That's my social cues that I probably need to work on more, because I'd be like, okay, I'm done talking. I'm gonna walk away. So then I come back, oh, oh, that was rude. Let me go back. It was nice talking to you. And then I go, oh, yeah. So yeah, I already do that. I tell people my story all the time. So it's other than that.
What makes you a good coach? Because you're already a coach. You just haven't, you just gotta get certified. The certification is not for you, it's for other people, because you already have it. You're already there. You already have it in your heart. What's gonna make you a good coach is that you've been through, is because you walk that walk in that particular niche. And there's not a lot of coaches in that niche. And so that's what's going to set you apart, is because of that. And then when you do get when you do start to become a coach as well, your podcast is going to blow up, because people need to talk about this. For some reason, people they don't know what to find their resources. They don't know how to go about doing it. They don't know how to find a support system. And they don't even know how to deal with the child that lives with them, because they feel almost helpless, and they may not they may not even know how to find the village. And those are the areas you're going to cover. But it's already in your heart, and you're already doing it.
That's crazy, because eventually I'm going to create a village, and I already have a free community on book. It's called Auesomely You Community, for other parents can go in there, talk to each other. If you don't have a village, it'll be there because it's free. And yeah, I haven't made it. You are my first announcement.
Awesome, because your Facebook just opened up too.
Yep. So yeah, I just thought about it.
So that's awesome. And so the group is, kudos to you. The group will grow, and you just keep serving at the capacity you serve in, and it's gonna do what it do. And so with let me ask you this question: like, what advice would you give parents to take care of themselves? Because sometimes they don't do that. They're not taking care of themselves while they're taking care of their child that's dealing with autism.
I love that question so much. So one thing I'm big on is self-care. And with me being big on self-care, I make sure, now some parents may give me pushback. You have to put yourself first before you put your child, because you cannot take care of your child from your half empty cup. You have to take care of your child from your overflow. And how I know, because I experienced it. When you take care of your child from your overflow, it's going to be easier. Your child's going to be happier. You're going to be happier. So first off, you got to find out what's good for you. For me, I like going hiking. I like going walking. I like going running, fitness. I like to journal. Right now, I'm journaling in the Bible. Since they challenged me reading this journal and journal how I feel about God and stuff like that. That's what I'm currently doing. And I also go to the spa. I go to somebody local in Atlanta who specialize with working with special needs moms and special needs individuals. The name of her spa is Bella Lucy Spa. and you can look her up on Instagram. And she specializes in putting back into other moms and she's an autism mom who are dealing with what we're dealing with. And when I say it's so calming, and it just 45 minutes a week or 45 minutes a month, whatever your capacity is or your budget is, it just that. And with that, I want you guys to hit her up. She also have offers. I don't know her offer this week, but she also have offers. And look her up and DM her the word Auesomely You and see what discount you would get, because that's one way I take care of myself. That's why my skin's so clear. Is her. It's
Awesome.
yeah.
So what as an advocate, what resources do you wish they had more of?
Ooh, this question is about to okay, so number one, I got a list. More transitional services for when our kids hit 18, they can still pursue education. I do know that the state is legally responsible for them until 22. I understand that. But beyond that, I'm talking about beyond that. And I wish we had better first responders training. Like the young man who just was murdered. I'm gonna say he was murdered. I wish first responders understood what autism and all disabilities look like. I wish we had hospitals that was more equipped with all people with different disabilities. I also wish it was free therapy for, like, when I say therapy, I'm talking about sitting down, mental health, to making sure that they're okay. Because first off, like me, I was bullied growing up because I was in special education. So now I'm verbal, I can talk about it. But what about the people like my son who are nonverbal, who cannot communicate how they feel because it's not a therapist that specializes in that? And then last but not least, I wish it was more jobs that would hire individuals that was on the spectrum. I'm not talking about people that have higher support needs. I mean, lower support needs. I'm talking about the individuals who have higher support needs. Sorry, like my son, who are nonverbal, who probably cannot write yet. What about them? Why can't we not have positions within companies to hire them to make sure they have the income to take care of themselves and their families? So those are all the resources I wish we had. Oh, and last but not least, I wish that when we go to public school, I wish that it was a list of, this is advocates. There's lots of things you can look out for. These are resources in your local community that can help you better assist your child. Because as we all know, when you really tackle the behaviors and tackle everything in the beginning, then your child has a better chance of having a better future when they get older. Because the reality is, we're not going to be here forever. I'm not going to be here forever. I'm going to die in the future, and my son need to be set up financially before he can be taken care of. But the reason why I feel so strongly about that, because I see what death does, and most people don't think about that. And that's why when you think of Auesomely You, I want it to be $1 billion brand, because I want my son to be able to be the CEO. I want him to be able to hire people, and I want to be able to hire and employ people that's on the spectrum, not Asperger's, but all of the disabilities, so they can have salaries to take care of their families. And that's all the resources that I want. Yep.
Oh, that is amazing. Yes. And so see, you got you know the pain points. And that the pain points. And so you're gonna probably be the person that get those things done because you know the pain points, and your heart is so driven toward it. So you probably be the one that find those resources, because those you got a point. They never train. You rarely see them train for mental health, behavioral issues, because that can help out a whole lot. Because sometimes you need to know what's in front of you. And I think that should be an added training that should be mandatory, and they need to add it into their LMS training or something. Yeah. Ron, you have a question?
Yeah, a question just came in, and
okay.
It's almost talking about what you're talking about, Martha. It says, how can someone respectfully respond with a person with autism that is experiencing a meltdown?
Oh, that is a good question. I think I
That
asked
is
that
an
question on my
amazing
podcast.
question. That is an amazing question. So if you see somebody having a meltdown, prime example, you're in a grocery store or you at Target, Walmart. Target was not a good example. Not Walmart was not a good example. You at the store and you see somebody having a meltdown. First, look for that parent and see what they need help with. Ask them, hey, I see your child, and don't assume it's a bad behavior. Let's get rid of that judgment and let's just ask, hey, how can I help you? Is it what can I? You need me to push this cart to your car? You need me to help unload your groceries? Like what is it that you ask the parent first and see and get permission because the parent may got it, but I would say most of the time we don't. Because when my son used to have meltdowns, everybody would just be looking at me. Nobody, no, nobody from the staff, from the people in the store would ask I need help. Everybody would just be looking. And me being the advocate I am, I would go to the owner of an establishment. And after my son was done, I would talk about how I need them to get training because that was not acceptable. But that's me being an advocate after the fact, after my son has had his breakdown. I call it a breakdown, but yeah. So yeah, that's my advice.
And I have to ask this question. What does it feel like to be a mom in the store and your child is having a meltdown and everybody is looking? What are you going through at that time?
Oh, I got thinking of the most recent one that just happened last year during April. Um it happened at work though. I was overwhelmed, I was frustrated, and I was upset that everybody just stopped and looked, and one person had the common decency to help. That's how I felt. But after that, I had a whole talk with my HR about it, and yeah.
So you kind of, it sounded like you felt like you had no support.
I had no support. But when I finally got upstairs to my position, my manager who's over there, he offered my son some chips. He calmed down then, and I was like, great, good job. But he was the only one, and that because me and him have a personal relationship though, and me and him are very close. He's a very amazing individual, but I feel that nobody cared.
Okay.
I don't feel it was showed.
It
Nobody
felt like that, but it's funny how people don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And that's
okay.
why it's so good to have this platform because people don't know what to do. And I think people fear how the parent will respond if they do. But you have to be just courageous and let your heart drive you in approaching the parent because sometimes they may need help because it is what it is. Sometimes they may need help and they don't need any judgment. At that point, I love how you said that. You said drop the behavioral judgment.
Yes.
I love that. That's why I wanted to repeat it again. Drop the behavioral judgment because that is what's going on when it happens. And that's not helpful.
That's not helpful at all.
Not at all.
And you also, I meet a lot of parents that are embarrassed when their kids, I meet a lot of parents that don't take their kids anywhere because they are so embarrassed that their kid is going to do that. And they don't want to be judged or looked at. And I'm like, forget them people. They don't matter.
Right.
But in retrospect, the society does matter because I need society to understand, help that parent. Now, I know people have seen the videos of the kids who had destroyed the TVs at the local stores. I'm not gonna say the store name, and in the comment section was so negative. So, well, I don't care if a child was autistic. You don't care until it's your child. You don't care until it's your cousin. Right. You don't care until it's your loved one. But you in these comments, where's the parent? I'm pretty sure that parent is somewhere in that corner crying.
And feeling shame. And that's what we want to stop. We want to end the shame in mental health, period.
Amen. I agree.
That's the thing, because people think mental health, when you struggle with mental health, that you can't do nothing. That's not true.
Right.
Because you may have just like a person who's blind, they can't see, but their ears are amped up. to the point that it helps them get around. You know what I mean? It's always something that compensates what a deficit is. And I think people got this thing where if I have mental health, then I'm weak. Or if I have mental health issues, then I'm not smart enough, or I'm not enough. No, you are valuable because you were born.
Amen.
And I think people miss that point of like, don't ignore them because they have a mental health issue, because they are important too. And I think people need to really understand that, because if it was my child, I would want them to be treated with value as well.
And compassion.
And yes, and grace.
Grace. That was the next one. But yes, compassion is grace. And luckily for me, my son has not had any more meltdowns in public in a while. Luckily.
And if he do, hey, you're gonna be right there.
I know how to handle it, but I haven't had that in a while.
That's awesome. So Ron, you got another question?
Yeah, I got some that came in. I'll try and find the best one, because boy, if I read one of them, it may last another 3 hours. But they are really responding. Oh, here's one. How can a caregiver and teachers respond supportively during overload or meltdown? We just answered that, but they came back with this question right here with this one.
Oh, that's a great one.
That's a great question. Yes.
That's a great one. So number one is, what is in your child IEP? I can't answer that because I don't see it. So, and also think about having a BID. What is a BID? It's a behavior intervention plan. So it's a behavior plan, essentially. And in that behavior plan, you can have strategies. I'm big on strategies, but you have to have data to support the behavior for you can build your BID. So that's the only way I can answer that question. So, and you and a teacher have to communicate. So in the beginning of the school year, every year I have this resume that I write about my son. Now, if you don't know me, you're like, that's so extra. It's not extra. It's literally a resume about my son. It has a picture, and I give everybody the same resume. It talks about his wants, his needs, what triggers him, all those things, because I think you should know. I know you get the IEP, but I'm giving you just one pager, and that's quicker. Well, it's really a 2-pager now because I added more to it. So it's a 2-pager, and I do that, and then I go in for the open house, and I ask questions. What do you do for this behavior? And I have strategies that I already have put in place, and we talk about it. And that's my advice to you. So you and the teacher, y'all are one big team. You can't go in being defensive. And if that teacher is not being receptive to you, you are the child biggest advocate, amend the IEP and have a meeting. That's your parent right.
Okay. Mark, I got time for one more question.
Yeah. Oh, you got to go ahead. Yeah,
Go
absolutely.
These people, they're chiming in. And this one said, do you prefer identity first language or person first language, and why?
Okay. To me, that's a good question. And I know why you asked that question. I personally, I don't care. You don't have to address me with somebody who has autism, as long as my focus is inclusion and job security for autistic individuals who have lower support needs. I mean, higher support needs versus me, because I'm considered high functioning, which I don't use that term because it's offensive. Now, the only thing I prefer is nobody asked me, am I high functioning or low functioning? I think it's offensive. I know about the identity thing because some people on the spectrum want to be addressed as a person with autism or this. So I understand. I just personally don't care because I think we need to be focusing on transitioning when we get into adulthood, so they can live independent. My conversations don't center around that because I feel we have bigger matters, especially first responders. Like, we need to pass a bill for first responders to know how to deal with our kids, because what just happened with Victor, it was not okay. So that is my mindset. I personally don't care about that. You can address me however you want to, and then we can get to the real conversation.
Okay.
Amazing. You have another question?
Go ahead,
No,
ask them because
Those are
it's
some
go
great
ask them.
questions.
I mean, they are just chiming in like it's no tomorrow. I mean, I think as much as we're talking about autism, that was something back in the days that most parents didn't talk about because
Mhm,
the word they used, and I hate that word. Oh, don't worry about them. They're just special. And
mhm.
without really addressing the issue, they'll put them up in a corner somewhere, have them eat by themselves. That's isolating them. That's the last thing they need is that right there.
Right.
Because
I
growing up,
agree.
I seen it. When you went to somebody's house, I went to a friend's house of mine. I said, I thought they had a sister. And, oh yeah, but she's special. She's off in a room somewhere. How you gonna relate to society when they box you up in the room and like you said, Crystal, God forbid that time comes and it's a passing of one of the parents and that was their caregiver, how are they gonna know what to do?
They're not because you have to equip your child with that. And I also recommend you having a folder. I have a folder. It's digital now, but I have a folder with all about my child. Like it has everything in there. I have to update it. That's on my to-do list. But I honestly have a folder where you can, if I was a pass, let's say tomorrow, not gonna win, never gonna happen, it would have all his stuff in there.
Okay. And so let
Okay.
me ask you a question. With I love the resume. That is not over the top. I love it because it's like you really advocating making sure that they know you're a child.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think, to be honest with you, it'd be nice if parents, give their children, give their teachers resumes on their children, period, because sometimes it may help the teacher, period.
The teacher love
But
it every year. The teachers be like, they be so impressed with me. The principal, they be like, oh my God. That's how they know me. They love it. When I say it changed the conversation, eh, they love it.
if I was a teacher, I would love to be handed that so I'm getting to know your child at a fast pace. And then when I'm dealing with things, you gave me the tools. You gave me the tools I
Mhm.
need to pull on in the toolbox rather than be walking around stuck. Because even if they did go to school to learn how to deal with it, it's always different when you're facing it. And
Mhm.
so it's every child have to be dealt with different. So I think it's great that you do that. That's awesome. And my other question was, as a caregiver and a mom, when you prepping for like in the life or whatever, whenever that happened, how do you choose the person in the village? How can these parents get that together where they like, what do they need to do to get that particular thing together, the caregiver, the needs, and all of that, so that they can so they can feel comfortable that all of the things in place. It's like advanced directives towards that
Mm.
particular thing.
So I'm gonna give you what I sorry, I'm gonna give what I did.
Mhm.
So I just talked to my sister. Me and her had this conversation. If I was to pass, what would we do? I have a living will. But now I'm about to work on getting a lawyer who can put this and make this legal. But I just sat down and talked to my sister about 5 years ago, and we had this conversation about her being the caregiver. Even though my mom was like, "Why would it not be me?" I said, "Because mom, you're getting old. That's why."
Right.
And she said, "Why not your brother? He got 4 kids. She got two. Zach a handful." I, this was the most logical thing. So I personally just sat down with my family, had a conversation, and then I also broke down my assets. And I think what's the name of the website? I think it's called livingwill.com or
Yeah.
.org. I think that's the
Hmm.
name of it. I used that and I typed everything out, and my sister have the link to it. So that's what I did. But as I get older, I'm gonna get a lawyer, and my lawyer is going to. I found this. I found one in Georgia. They work on stuff like this, and I'm going to do that. And also, before he turns 18, I'm going to take legal guardianship. So he's 18. I want to hear about he's 18. No, I'm his guardian past 18.
Right.
So I'm
Yeah.
working on all of that. But that's when he turns 17. That's when I'm gonna start paperwork for that.
And I think people need to really think about that, because the person you choose have to accept it, and accept it when it comes to, like, not just saying yes, but really accept it in their heart, that they're going to do the
She's
best,
so
that they're going to
patient with my
take all
son.
the training that they need to make sure that they are capable of doing it. Because sometimes it may take some extra training or learning to take on any responsibility of any child that you
She's
may
the
have
most
to take,
patient one out of all my family.
which
My
is
sister
great
is so
that you.
patient.
And the cool thing about, they was fighting over who go. Why can't I do it? You got a good village, girl. You got a good village.
I
That's
was
all.
like,
Yeah.
no, she's the most patient one. She the one that was like, he operates like a. Well, I wasn't offended when she said it. Even though my late auntie said she should never said it. She said he operates like he's 2. I think he was 5 at the time, or I can't remember what age he was. I
Mhm.
said, yes, his control levels is that, but I was not offended. And my auntie said, well, other parents would have been offended. I said, yeah, auntie, I'm not other parents. I understand what we're working with. I understand what my son is going through, so it's okay. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
Mm.
Ron, before we go further, do you have anything else?
I'm just listening to her, what she's saying. I could relate with her because I told this story before. I was also bullied in school. I had a stuttering problem. They stuck me in remedial classes thinking I had a problem about learning, and I never did. Math was one of my best. I could add up things, subtract things in my head just as fast. I was like a human calculator back then. But they haven't told me, even though I stuttered, I needed to be put in remedial classes, which was that hurt me to grow. I couldn't grow with the rest of everybody else because they put you there and they give you this is what you go by and that's it. They don't give you a chance to expand or anything. And I think that's tragic when a school district does that to a kid. There's nothing wrong with them. They just may be a little slow in learning, but they know. And I was against the school district, still talking bad about them for what they did to me. But here I
Mm.
am now doing what I'm doing now, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
You also
Yeah.
have the school district the school districts also put, and I'm not trying to be stereotypical, the Black kids with behavior problems. And
Hmm.
that's why they end up getting an IEP. It's some kids
Mhm.
that have IEPs that don't need an IEP. I remember I had a client a long time ago. This girl did not need an IEP. I was so confused in this meeting, like, why does she have an IEP? Why I'm here? I'm looking at the data, I'm listening. I even said to the superintendent, she doesn't need an IEP. And they said, we agree. I said, so what's the parent was mad at me, but that's on another episode. But I was so confused. I said, this girl does bad. In my head, I'm thinking she does bad. She does bad.
She just
She
need discipline. She need discipline.
no,
And
she
some
was bad,
structure.
and
She needs some structure.
structure and all the accommodations would have hindered her in life, because in life you don't get accommodations, and she get accommodations
Right.
because it's legal document. And I'm like, she don't need it. What does she meet in the 13 categories? I'm confused. And the school did try to hire me that day. I said, I'm good. I don't want to work for y'all. I don't want to be stuck to a desk. But yeah, I agree with everything I said.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So how can anyone that want to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you? Although I will send all the links to Ron to put in the video, but
Okay. So you guys can just to find me, you can just go to Instagram. I am Crystal Jordan, spelled the correct way. I am, and it's Crystal, Crystal Jordan, Jordan. And then eventually you can go to auesomelyou.com. Awesomely is spelled, take the W out and put a U, and it's spelled just like that. Or you can also go to Auesomely You Magazine.com. You can find me by just typing in Crystal Jordan, the advocate, or Crystal Jordan, autism advocate. You'll be able to find me.
awesome. That's awesome. So, Crystal, thank you so much for coming
Thank
on and
you.
talking about this subject. It's a subject it's dear to my heart because I see so many children now growing up, and they find out that they fit on some area of the spectrum. but I see a lot of moms drown in this. And so it's so good to talk about it. A lot of people don't like talking about it, but suffering in silence is not good.
No.
Anything hidden can't be healed. So I think that we just have to really, continue to get the word out. People, the more we talk about it, the more people will feel like, okay, it's open for discussion. I don't feel like I'm alone. And that's the key, is you don't want people to feel like they're alone, because it's a very lonely world when nobody can relate.
I agree. It's very lonely when I feel like I've been there when I was younger, when I couldn't talk and I was bullied extremely bad. I understand how autistic individuals feel when you were younger.
Yeah.
Before I realized what it was, but I understand now. So,
well, I am so looking forward to working with you, and you're going to do so amazing in the field, and I'm so happy for you and where you're going. I'm so proud of what you have done so far, with especially the advocacy for your son and others, because you ain't just doing it for him, you're doing it for a whole lot of moms. So thank you so much for your service in that area. And so, Ron, I'll let you finish it off.
Well, I applaud you again, Krista, for what you're doing. A lot of people will not take that step or leap of faith the way you did it. And I like what you're saying. It's my son, but I'm also worried about everybody else. Go back to this one lady who's on my show a while back. She sat there and said, it's not a me thing, it's a we thing. And so what you're doing right now is showing everybody the things that you could do. And I deeply appreciate that and everything. So I'm gonna steal you from Martha on one of these days and have you on my show. Because she brings nothing but great people to me. And this is the first time this lit up like this with all these questions. So that means we got other people out there in the same situation that don't know what to do. And what you're saying today, now people are going to open up now. So that's good. But
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you to the listeners. I really appreciate it.
We're going to put you on a whole lot of platforms.
Oh, yeah. You be ready. All right. Well,
be ready, because I kid you not.
Yeah. All right, Martha and Crystal, I appreciate y'all taking the time out being on this show. And I have utmost respect for the things that y'all two are doing in the community, and your keyword is village. And that's what it's all about. So until next time, we'll talk to you later.
All righty.
Okay.
Have a good day. Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to WSAN Radio. Catch us on our YouTube channel, WSAN Radio SA. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button.